Hey team, welcome into another episode of The Man Behind the Warriors. As you can see here, I'm joined by Warriors 237, Mr. Adam Pompey. Welcome in, my brother.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, it's outstanding to have you here. I've had a lot of requests over this year to try and get you in for a bit of a yarn, so it's nice to have you here. Before we get into it, I've got to ask, did I get the name right? Is it Pompey or Pompey?
It's Pompey.
Pompey. Oh.
Yeah.
And I noticed the boys, your nickname's Wets around the club. Is that something you've always had, or is it something that just come up at the club?
No, I've always had that as since I've been growing up. It's my middle name. It's known as Wetere. So yeah, it's pretty much a nickname or short name for Wets.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if it was actually like a double first name or, because I
Nah.
see it's in your profile there. So yeah, Wets.
Yeah.
I'll try not to call you late for dinner, but I should get the rest right. So you grew up in Auckland, I see. So which part of Auckland did you grow up in when you're a young fella?
When I grew up, where I grew up, sorry, I grew up in a small town called Tuako, which is south of Auckland. It's a small town. All my family stay there, and everyone knows everyone. So, yeah, all most of my brother, my nana, and all my cousins, uncles, everyone, they stay there. And yeah, I just go back now and then, just to go see them, and yeah, pretty much
Whereabouts is that? I've never heard of it, bro.
It's if you guys know where Bombay is, that's pretty much where I say close to Torco. If you guys don't know it, or else Pukekohe, so it's maybe a 15-minute drive from Pukekohe.
Oh, random.
Yeah.
So what's your heritage, man? Whereabouts your parents, whakapapa?
Where I'm from, Torco. My heritage is full Māori, and my mum's from Tikohanga, which is pretty close to Port Waikato, if you guys know where that is. And my dad's from Mangatangi, which is probably near Coromandel, so the other side of, pretty much Torco.
Oh, awesome.
But you're pretty close to each other, and yeah, that's where I'm from.
That's cool. So when did you move up to Auckland? Was that in high school?
No, I moved up here probably last year, and yeah, pretty much so that I can get closer to trainings and pretty much everywhere, like around the city. Yeah, my first year I used to travel up from Torco, which is a 45-minute drive from training, and yeah, I just thought like the traffic, I couldn't be used to the traffic, so ended up wanting to move closer to training so that I get there pretty early. Or
what about school? How far was that from your place? High school?
Yeah, so I was staying in Torco, so I went to Wesley College, which is like probably a 20-minute drive just out of Pukekohe. 10-minute drive from Pukekohe.
Oh, yeah, not so far.
Yeah, not too far from Torco, so yeah, it's a great school, and yeah.
So
pretty good.
Was it a pretty small, probably primary school that you went to back in the day?
Yeah. So I went to the local primary school, Torco Primary, and then I shifted around. Like in my primary days, I went to a primary school called Harrisville, which is like pretty close to Torco. Then I shot up to Only Fiddle, which is like a probably year 1 to year 13, so it's an area school.
Yeah.
And then after that, I ended up coming here out west, went to Ranaway Primary, and then shot back to Only Fiddle School. So yeah, I moved around a lot since I was young, and then pretty much
Awesome.
that was.
So what kind of kid were you when you were like, sort of 5 to 10 years old? Were you a little rascal or were you the little quiet kid?
No, I was pretty quiet. Yeah, had a lot of cousins, so I pretty much just hanged out with them and got along with them, and then yeah, just tried to do my own thing. I liked a lot of um, like just getting away from the house, just like playing footy with my cousins, probably at the local park, and then yeah, it's pretty much it.
Oh, what kind of sports did you play growing up? Were you a union boy or a league boy, or did you play all kinds of stuff?
Yeah, I played all kind of stuff. Like a few sports. First was rugby. I was a union player growing up, and then played a bit of cricket, played a bit of touch. Tried to get into basketball, but yeah, it's a pretty hard sport to get into. And then um, now I'm playing a bit of golf, so which is pretty
Nice.
fun to get away from the league side of it. And then um, yeah, a bit of soccer, like all
Yeah,
that kind of.
right. So
So
were
yeah,
you a big kid, or did you kind of shoot up in high school, or because what do you 1.90 m, right?
yeah. No, I pretty much shot up in high school. Yeah, that's where done most of my things in high school, and then yeah, just got ended up picking up from the Roosters side of it.
So when you were in high school, had you thought about going and playing league, or did they come and find you?
No, oh, so I was in high school. Probably I was year 12 or year 11, and then ended up playing in a tournament down in Bruce Pullman, Papakura. So that was like the secondary schools. You get to play other schools, and then yeah, everything was going fine. And then yeah, ended up getting scouted by the Roosters, which I think it was Peter Sullivan that at that time the recruiter, and then yeah, ended up having the opportunity to go over to Australia and playing in the SG ball. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
pretty
crazy. When you were
good.
little, like, did a lot of Kiwis grow up dreaming of being an All Black, or being a Kiwi or something? Did you have like that sporting star that you wanted to emulate?
Yeah. When I was younger, I wanted to be an All Black, as most Kiwi players here in New Zealand, because that's pretty much the pinnacle sport in New Zealand is union. Um, and yeah, growing up, I wanted to be an All Black and follow all those guys, and then switching over to the other code, and then yeah, I just felt like I just fell in love with the game a bit more, and I just didn't like that stop start. I just
Yeah.
like continuous you know play, and then
Mate, as a
yeah,
fan, I'm the same, but I grew up playing Union, and I started watching League in the late 80s when it first came out on TV here.
yeah,
And ever since then, like, just the speed, I still, like, I watched the All Blacks the past couple of weeks, but I get
yeah,
so frustrated, man, with this. When are they going to start again? But we won't bag rugby union.
yeah.
Who was you like? Was there the player that you dreamed of being like when you were a young fella?
As a young fella in Union, I liked Sonny Bull Williams. He was pretty much yeah, one of the superstar stewards, and then yeah, ended up liking Sonny Bull. So yeah.
Did you always play in the backs when you were a young fella, or did you play in the forwards at all?
I did play in the Fords one time. It was I think it might have been under 11s rugby down at the local rugby club, and then I think I was playing lock. So I had my brother, my younger brother was playing with me, and then yeah, I ended up getting chucked in the Fords for a bit of you know go forward, and then it's pretty much it. And then ended up moving out in the backs later on. So it's pretty.
Nice. So when you went over to the Roosters, how long were you actually over there for? Were you there full time, or did you just go over for a month or two at a time?
Yeah. I was over at the Roosters, done SG ball, so I was maybe been like 16, 17, and then I was ending up flying in and out of New Zealand. I'll I'll finish school, which is high school, and then I'll fly over for the game. So maybe like a Saturday game, and then I'll end up flying that Friday, do captain's run, and then play in that game, and then I'll fly the next day back home here in New Zealand, and then done most of my schoolwork, and then repeat again.
How did you go about doing the training as a team and stuff? They like to learn all the game plans and stuff.
I guess I done that like pretty much in their preseason, so I'd done a few things, and then I think it was just pretty much like what I was doing here in New Zealand. Like saying, like I'll train and then go back over and try learn a little bit of plays that they put on during the week, and then I just had to learn pretty fast to adapt to what they were trying to run, and then
Well, you must have seemed like a superstar to all your mates at school, like with all the air points and stuff.
I wish.
Did you have any other Kiwi boys flying over there with you, or was it just all locals?
I did have one fella. His name was Dean Coker Smith. So I think he was here in Auckland, and then we flew over like together that Friday, and then we'll play games together and then fly back together back here in New Zealand. So
Was Sonny Bill around the Roosters when you were there at all? I can't remember the dates of when he was backwards and forwards.
No, I don't think so. I think the only person that I remember was Rog.
Yeah.
He was there when on my first year when I went over there for SG ball, and then I think the next year he ended up coming back to New Zealand.
Nice.
Pretty
So,
cool.
pretty buzzy experience, I'm sure. But sort of, how did the Warriors come about then? Did they come to you, or did you get someone to go to them?
Oh yeah. That part of the story was I ended up coming back. So after I'd done most of my footy over Australia, come back, and then I ended up going to a Māori comp down in Rotorua, which is like they had their competition last week. So I went down, played in my family team, which we pulled up, and then Peter O'Sullivan, he was there at the time, so he was recruiting and all that kind of jazz. And then I ended up walking past, and because I already knew Pete, and he ended up telling me, should come down for a training trial down at the Warriors. And then I was like, oh yeah, sweet. And ended up coming through, and then went from there.
That's pretty cruisy. Oh yeah, let's come down and have a training trial, bro.
Yeah.
So you came to the Warriors, was it 2018-29 off season? Is that right?
Yeah. That was the time I got picked up from the Warriors.
So you went the first year you played Cup, was it?
Yep. It might have been like halfway through the year, and then played a few games with the top side.
So how did your debut come about, bro? Was there an interesting story behind that, or was it something you knew about quite a bit in advance?
My debut happened. I think it was after. So I think the boys played in, might have been Brisbane, and I think Ken got injured on the wing, and then like the next week after we went back into training, done the whole week pretty much closer to the game day. So I think it might have been captain's run leading up to the Sharks game, And then I ended up training throughout the whole week, and then yeah, Ken couldn't. I think he couldn't get cleared to play, and then the coach then was Morks, Stephen Kearney. He ended up saying, "Oh, mate, are you ready to play?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll be keen to play." And I was really excited. So it was pretty much how that came about.
So it wasn't one of those call into the office kind of things. It was just out on the field or something at training, was it?
Yeah, it was like one. I was in the gym, so we were doing like a wrestle sesh, like a little wrestle sesh before we head out to captain's run, and then it's like, in front of like the boys, he was like, "Oh, mate, are you ready to play?" And then I was like, "Oh, yeah, mate, I'm beyond ready to play." So yeah, I was really excited, really keen to jump in from
Wonder if
there.
anyone ever says, "Nah, bro, I need a bit more time."
Yeah,
So yeah, first game against the Sharks in Wellington, my hometown, and funnily enough, bro, that was my Warriors debut as well.
oh
So
yeah,
I lived over half my life in Japan. I went over there when I was 21
yeah,
and moved back here in 2019. So it was the first I'd followed the Warriors for 25 years from Japan.
yeah.
So it was my first ever live game too. So it's nice
Oh,
to debut on the same day.
yeah.
Shitty night out there, raining, pretty cold, but the boys got it done. Was it
Yep, by a lot of points. And
1918? Yeah. I actually
yeah.
went back and watched the highlights yesterday to remind
Oh,
myself.
yeah.
Oh, I
Oh,
remember
good.
being there like it was such an emotional roller coaster. I thought, man, I can't lose in my
Yeah,
first ever game. And was it Greeny kicked that drop goal, eh? So,
yeah. So that's the one.
what was it like, bro? Did you find like a big difference in speed or, the impact or anything?
Yeah, playing cup the whole season. Oh, not yeah, playing cup the whole season and jumping into top grade was a bit different, bit faster and knowing that the other players knew what to do in their role. Um, yeah, and then when I debuted, it was pretty emotional and had my dad present my jersey, so had a few of my family come down from Torco to Wellington, and yeah, it was just so emotional and had a lot of nerves that day, and then running out on the field was pretty special. Um, just to run out and not knowing that you've done the job and all that kind of jazz, and um, it was just a tough old game, like it is, and like that score was. It was a gritty game, and then we got lucky at the end. So yeah,
Yeah, it's hard for guys like me to imagine. You go your whole life dreaming of like, for me it was wanting to be an All Black, or then it's being, PGA Tour golfer, all this kind of stuff. But
yeah,
for the few guys like yourself who actually get to live that dream, I can't imagine the buzz of one, hearing it, then getting your jersey, then getting out there. You know, they say it goes really really fast. Did you
yeah,
find the time went quick?
yeah. My debut year went pretty fast. I think after that game I had maybe 4 other games that I played in, and then yeah, even like the next couple of years were pretty fast. Just obviously playing a bit more and knowing what the game is all about. That's pretty much what got me through it, and yeah,
So was it? Did you find it like some guys it takes a few years to really kind of pick up the whole particularly the defense side of it and the centers and the wing there compared to rugby? Was it a difficult transition for you? Particularly like
um,
when you're getting into top grade there, did you find you were still having to learn the patterns and stuff, or was it all pretty much locked in by the time you got there?
like you um, do all the work in preseason and throughout the year, and like you do work on a lot of things. Especially in what you need to work on. Like I tried to work on a lot of defense throughout the whole year, and then it just hopefully falls into place. And knowing that you can trust your abilities and or your kind of things throughout the whole year, and yeah, pretty much just backing yourself, I guess, and that's pretty much the main thing.
So, like, it's pretty cool. You make your debut in 2019. You played a lot of Cup. You played a few games of NRL. You
Yeah.
go into the 2019-2020 pre-season with high hopes, and then old COVID comes out
Yeah.
and sort of messes things up.
Yeah.
What was that like for you, like having to pack up and go over to Aussie and sort of being away from home for so long?
Yeah. It was. I think for a lot of boys here in New Zealand was pretty hard to leave our families, partners, and all that kind of jazz, and starting like we all knew that we had to go over and try to do a job there and try to keep the comp alive. But yeah, the hardest thing was just to leave our families and yeah.
It's funny because people, I don't think if you haven't done it, and it's one thing to kind of like I've always travelled, ever since I've been with my wife, and
Yeah.
it was just kind of second nature. But then when COVID hit, I had to go to Japan once in the middle of it, and like 2 weeks in isolation over there. Like there were like I think there's maybe 10 people on a plane to Japan, like the big one.
Yeah.
And then I was there for I think 2 months, and then another 2 weeks when I got back. So I was all up to like 3 months, bro. And you can't come back. And knowing that even if something terrible happens, you got to go into that isolation for 2 weeks. And just
Yeah.
for that 3 month period, man, my daughter was about 5 at the time, 6 maybe, and she's like freaking out about COVID, and my son's going through troubles at school. And I know how hard it was for me to try and like deal with
Yeah.
all that through FaceTime, right? So people don't realize that, just see the good side. Oh, bro, you're living in a hotel, you're living
Yeah.
in the sunny Aussie. But particularly for people who are close with their family, I think it was one of the toughest times that a lot of people have been through. So how did you kind of get through it? Like, was it, you were also kind of drifting in and out of first grade at the time. So were you going up to Redcliffe to play? Where were you playing when you were playing in Cup? Were you at Redcliffe or?
Yeah, I think when we were in Tamworth for a bit, just for trying to finish off our preseason. So that was the second break, which was after Chrissy. So we went over to Tamworth, done a few trainings there, and then ended up going to Terrigal, Central Coast. So it was pretty much a big move from there in that nice short amount of time, and then we ended up staying at Terrigal for maybe a couple of months, and then no, that was pretty hard because didn't know what to do. We had like NRL protocols throughout that year, and then I think we ended up coming back for Christmas. So, oh no, I can't remember. That was pretty
It's so
much a lot.
weird, because you
Yeah,
can't remember the timeline.
yeah,
It seems like 6 months, but it was actually because I think you guys did come back once and then had to make the choice to go back the second time, right? Was that how it
yeah.
worked, or yeah?
I think we might have came back and then ended up going back over again, and then we stayed in. So we done Terrigal and then went to Brisbane, I think, and then we done that kind of break, and then stayed in Brisbane, and then done the off season in Redcliffe. So that was pretty much our COVID thing there.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of hard to imagine because like I enjoyed the first 8 weeks that we had lockdown here because like I'm always so busy and I never have a chance to just sit there and hang out with my kids. So
Yeah,
like my daughter and I would go for these long walks and do heaps of like cooking and stuff.
yeah,
But then you start to get that cabin fever. But for us, I think it was maybe 8 weeks in New Zealand before we got to the level where we could just go out and about.
yeah,
But being NRL players, you guys kind of had that lockdown for that whole year, right? You
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
even just go to cafes and stuff. How did you find that, like mentally? Was it starting to get cabin fever, or did you find that just boys were getting frustrated with each other more than they normally would about small things?
Yeah, I think we're like pretty sweet with it. We just knew that we had to stick together and try to do our own thing, and we had a lot of kind of free things that we got throughout the COVID break in Terrigal. So we had people or like the owners of the hotel um, get free stuff for us. So that was pretty
I
cool
mean,
to get. Had like bread, eggs already there. So yeah, it was pretty cool to try and make it as best or as normal as it can be. So no, it was pretty cool.
but I mean, I guess you look back now and you forget how bad it was, but it probably it goes one or two ways, right? It builds your resilience and makes you stronger in reflection. I think if you look, a lot of successful people, they've always been through some kind of really tough period in their lives. So do you feel like it's made you more resilient as a person, going through that
Yeah,
experience, being away from the whānau and stuff?
yeah, it has. Like I know how to live away from my family. I've done it in school, so I didn't like really, played like didn't really care about that part because I knew like how to live on my own and all that kind of jazz. And then like being resilient was just um, sticking sticking to me and knowing all your close friends, because like at the end of the day they'll be the ones that um, rub shoulders with you on the field or off the field. So no, I stuck around to my close friends, and then yeah, pretty much went from there as the time we had to come back to New Zealand.
Yeah, because I don't know, looking from the outside, it was that last year. I mean, the first couple of years was kind of like everyone was going through their battles personally and stuff. But by 2022,
Yeah,
things it's kind of got back to normal. But just watching the boys from afar, and it was nice. You came for that homecoming game, but you could just see when guys started to say, "Oh, I'm not coming to New Zealand" and stuff.
yeah,
Um, it just seemed like it was pretty disheartening. And the
yeah,
boys, like half of them just couldn't wait to get home, half of them didn't want to come, and it just seemed fractured. And it
yeah,
was really hard to see from the outside um, what that was like. But then to get to the point where you could get on that plane and come back to New Zealand for the 2022-2023 pre-season, man, how was that elation to finally be back home after that tough trip?
yeah. It was. I think for all the all the boys that were Kiwis, or the boys that have families back here in New Zealand, they couldn't wait to see their families for a long time. I know that I was pretty much I didn't see my family for ages, so I was excited to see them and get around them and um, try see them as much as possible. So trying to get their family time, and then yeah, um, ended up coming here to Auckland and knowing that we get to train at our home and do things pretty much normal here in New Zealand. And no, that was a good feeling for all the boys, knowing that we can get our own lockers, train in our own facilities, and all that kind of jazz. So, yeah, that was pretty much exciting for most of us.
So before we get on to the highlight of chatting about how the from Webby coming to the club and going through that off season into what turned out to be a really cool year, one thing I want to touch on, I didn't really want to, but I do want to at the same time, is um, I started this Warriorholic persona like halfway through last season, just calling up radio stations and stuff, like just trying to get fans to pull their head in with the shit they were giving players and the club and stuff, and making it really personal. And it sort of drifted into doing the YouTube this season, but it really started to hurt me to see how personal and how toxic some fans were getting. And it's always been there with any sport,
Yeah,
but I feel for guys, particularly you and Bunty, Sean, who for some reason just seem to be a target of, toxic negativity at times. When you have a great game, everyone's all on your back, and then they start running their mouths at you. I wanted to know from your perspective, how that impacts you and your family. You seem really resilient and a
Yeah,
chilled guy, but it's got to hurt, right?
yeah, yeah. It does hurt at the end of the day. We're all humans, and I think what know how resilient that I am. I try to keep away from it. Like I don't try to read comments and all that kind of jazz. And um, I just pretty much have my partner, my fiance. So she, um, just pretty much tells me, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just keep doing what you do." And because they're not the people on the field to. I just even like on a on a good day, I'll just try, just keep doing my thing. Try to get away from a bit of footy. So, like, I try to play a bit of golf, just to clear my mind a bit, and then try keep keep all the family pretty close. So yeah,
When I chatted to him about it, he said he had a lot of a lot of that after that game, the Anzac game, and he said actually for him it was harder to see how it was impacting his family rather than him himself, because he had the boys around him and he knew what he could do to fix it. But sometimes it's your parents or your partner being on social media see that, and I know as a fan I want to jump on there and defend you. So it must be tough for them to kind of see it and know that if you feed that shit half the time, it just gets them more excited. Is it
yeah.
tough for them or for you? You think?
I think it's tough for both of us, but yeah, I try keep the family out of it because I don't want them to get involved in it as well. And yeah, I think I just try keep to myself and to my family, and um, just try keep moving forward, I guess, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's frustrating because as fans, we really love to get an insight into you guys. I mean, I think one thing I like about New Zealand is we're not, you know, we're not crazy obsessive kind of fans. Like I know a lot of Hollywood stars who come here to make movies they find it weird that they can just go to the pub and have a beer and no one hassles them, or no paparazzi and stuff, um, which is good. But still, it's like we like to see a little bit of your life. You share a few of your personal moments on Instagram, and it's cool to get that insight because
yeah,
we want to know about it. So I love the fact that you are still able to be on an Insta and share a bit of your life. And probably Instagram is one of the least toxic of the worst. Facebook and Twitter
yeah,
can be pretty bad. So I do appreciate that you still do that. But like I've mentioned to you a couple of times in DMs that, and I hope other fans take the time to do it as well, that we really appreciate what you do, the effort, the hours of work that go in. And this year doing this Warriorholic thing, it made me like not just be a fan. If I'm going to comment on my opinion on the game or try and give players ratings or stuff, where I'm always biased and give pretty good ratings, but I have to really look at the game and
yeah,
try and understand, because what I think the natural thing for fans is they compare someone who's having a bad run with the best person in the world in that position,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know. So
yeah,
it's really unrealistic, and you people seem to rate the flashy guys as the best. So Wade Egan would be a really good example that I think a lot of fans, and including like people in the media, didn't realize how good he was because he wasn't running as much as Cookie, or he wasn't kicking as much as this guy.
yeah,
Um, and this year, like I really had to slow the game down and go back and just watch and try and see the little subtleties of what guys like yourself, or like Tamati Martin was one when he came in this year.
yeah,
I, you don't notice him in the game because he's not like the flashy guy like Sean. And you're
yeah,
wondering, what does it he do? And when you actually go back and you slow it down, you can just see those little effort areas that the average fan doesn't see. And I could never comment on a game until I watched it the second time without the emotion.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it was really interesting. That's why I tried to start to try and provide a bit of balance. But as players, we don't know what your roles are. We think we do. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up, because a similar one as Bunty gets a bit of stick, and that's why I asked Chance, there are things that he's doing that fans criticise that he's probably been asked to do within the game plan. Do you find that pretty frustrating? Like, you could be delivering on what Webby's asking from you, but the fans are critical of it?
I pretty much, I don't really, think of that too much. At least, Webby has a game plan for all the players. He pretty much, just set a game plan on us, and then we got to try to do it as best as possible. So, yeah, I think for myself, like, knowing my role is pretty much important as everyone on their field, and even the whole 17 players that play. So, yeah.
Right, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, and I hope it does give a little bit of balance to fans out there, and take a moment to care, not just to Adam, but to any players out there. It's easy to run your mouth, but at the end of the day, when you're on the receiving end, and often some of those people they probably welcome that kind of confrontation, so they don't feel the same sort of impact. But I know I do, particularly when my kids or whatever get bullied at school. It really pisses me off.
Yeah.
So I can really appreciate that. So let's get on to something a little bit more positive here. So you come back to New Zealand. It's you're back with the whānau. It's in your home club there. When did you first meet Webby?
I met Webby probably the first day I come back to pre-season. He pretty much set a standard for all the players, which was like body weight, skin folds, and he's been an awesome coach this whole year. Pretty chilled guy to get along with. He pretty much like helps a lot of boys, not with on the field but off the field as well. Webby's been amazing. So he's, I'm glad that he's, I think, re-signed or
2028.
Yeah, I'm glad that he did. And
what was your first impression? Like, did he come up and talk to you personally, or was it part of a group, the group when you first heard him speak?
It was. I think we were in a group, and he, just set a stand for most of us. Because I think most of the senior players went there at training, because they had maybe representative, probably like Kiwis, Tonga, and all that kind of jazz. And us young boys, we, got a set standard for us. So it is pretty. I just knew Webby as a coach that you want to be coached by, and he's an amazing coach. He likes to chat with everyone, like all the Islander boys and all the Māori Pacific boys. So gets along with us.
Yeah, because I can't wait. I hope one day I get a chance to interview him, because my business is about working with companies who are struggling and need to change their culture, or they need to increase their sales or whatever. And I start working with the CEO and kind of help them build that vision for success for their culture and the business, and then maybe 2 or 3 years cascading that down through the company. It could be 500 people, 1,000 people in the company, and I have this image in my mind of what the ideal leader should look like, just through my experience seeing the things that work really well for this CEO, but he's weaker at this one or whatever. And when I hear Webby start talking, it's like, oh, he's just this guy who I've had this picture of in my mind for the past 10, 15 years training leaders. He already has all those things. So I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
wait to kind of hopefully have a chance to interview him and find out where that all came from. But you can just feel it. And I don't know if you realize, but your face changed when you started talking about Webby.
yeah,
You can just see it's like, you're talking about this person who means a lot to you. And I think that the key word for me is empathy. Like you can see him when him and Tohu look at each other during the post matches. It's just this, you can feel the love in the room, right? It's so
yeah,
nice
yeah.
to see. Do you find like the other thing I really like about him is his communication is really concise and consistent?
Yeah.
Is he like that all the time, or is that a bit of a show for us in the media?
No, he's always like that. Consistently. No, he just keeps to himself, and then whenever we need to be coached, he puts on his coaching face. So he seems like a really nice coach, and all that kind of jazz. So that's pretty cool. Like, yeah.
I heard he's like really ultra detailed.
Yeah,
Um, did did you find that a little bit overwhelming initially? Was it way more detail orientated than the previous coaches you've played for?
yeah. So we do a lot of skills, pretty much on like our Mondays. So that's fun. We call it our fundamental day. So, we do a lot of like detail, like defense and attack kind of things, and yeah, he's been really good for that because like I rather um all the detail stuff, all the things that you need, like all the basic stuff, I guess, and I think that's why this year has been really good for us. So.
As a fan, I mean, it's funny because one of the things I found frustrating for probably I don't know, maybe the past 4 or 5 years, even with the Warriors, is it was some of those fundamentals that,
Yeah,
you know, you might not be the best roster in the comp, but there's no reason not to be the fittest and have the fundamentals right.
yeah,
Just little drop balls, really regularly dropping the ball in contact. And that's something we really saw this year. The ball security, the accuracy of the passing, and the little fundamentals there were just light and day. So you could genuinely see the effort that you guys must have put in over the off season and through the season
yeah,
to get that point. So you must have a really interesting mind to be able to break these. It's a simple but complicated game, and break it down into
yeah,
bite-sized pieces.
yeah.
What part of the game do you feel like he brought the most improvement out of you in?
Oh, for me, sorry. Or
Yeah, yeah. What did he really improve the most? Do you feel like for you this year?
yeah, pretty much. I reckon everything pretty much. No attack and defense. You practice all the small details at training and throughout preseason, throughout all the trainings during the year. He really like helped me through it as well. And you had all like Richie Ager, Richie was a backs coach, so we went with him and done a lot of defense and all the um, pretty much fundamentals of our defense and attack. So yeah, I reckon he played a big part as well in that. And yeah.
You come into a season like, what was your expectation as far as how much? Did you have a goal for how many games you wanted to play, or you wanted to lock down a position before you started this season? Did you have an indication of what the plan was?
Um, Not at the start of the year. I just try to get my body right as best as I can, and just try train throughout all the. I try to do all the trainings throughout the whole year, and my goal was to try play every game, and I just ended up doing that. So
Bro, that's how amazing, bro. How many guys in the NRL, I wonder, this year, I was trying to find the stat but couldn't find it, who played every minute of every game? That's
yeah,
crazy.
it was a hello, like good year for myself, and I just try to keep myself available in selection. So yeah.
Did you have any niggles by the end there, or the body seemed
Uh,
to be holding up pretty well for you?
yeah, I had a few niggles, but it wasn't as major. Try to do a lot of recovery after games, so which was good. And yeah, had Marcelo, which is pretty much the leader of recovery at the club. So yeah, I try to hop in and try to do things with him. So
And he looks like he's made of rock, that boy.
yeah, he's strong man to tackle. So yeah.
Who's the worst guy to tackle when you're doing opposed trainings there?
Oh
I won't ask you about the opposition because we don't want to give them a leg up, but I'll ask you about our boys.
no, probably Marcelo. He's built of rock. That fella. You probably don't want to get like a body in front of him because probably run you over. Yeah.
He's funny because he almost puts on the big hits when he's on attack rather than defense.
Yeah.
Like that fend on, who was it? Charlie Staines in the trial game, bro. It was
Yeah. Doesn't mean that was a good highlight for him. So yeah.
Thinking about your we'll get into the whole season as an experience, as a club and a team in a moment, but from a personal perspective, are there any games or moments that you're pretty mind blowing of what you managed to achieve this year?
No, about pretty much probably go through all the games, just all the achievement that I get to stay on the field and get to play. Probably all those minutes except for the Simvin, the last game. So yeah, even like leading up into the last few games of the finals, that was pretty cool to be in. Pretty cool experience as well. So haven't been in like a finals series, so that was I think that was pretty exciting for all of us, knowing that the club hasn't been there for a while, and for my I think 5 years now that I've been here at the club, it was awesome to see.
I mean, as a fan, the moment that will probably stand out, there'll be two. The first one is Valentine Holmes, when you had like three guys on you. You had your shirt pulled over your head, and you got that
Yeah.
offload for the try assist. I'm like, that will stick in my mind for probably one of the top, I don't know, 15 or 20 Warriors moments over the
Yeah.
past 8 years or whatever. And in general, like you came up, against obviously some of the best centers in the game, and I don't feel like anyone really dominated you. I thought the Gold Coast game over there, where you were dealing with a couple of really fast boys on your edge there, your ability to close down that space and not give them that space and stuff is really stand out. But the other one that will stick with me is that kick from the sideline against the Knights on the eastern stand side, so not your best side.
Yeah.
How was that like, bro, when you kicked that one right in the corner there after Dallin had scored and the crowd just went absolutely nuts?
Yeah, no, that was a good moment for myself. Knowing like that kick was like to, I wouldn't say like to secure or like secure it. That was a tough kick for myself, and I just wanted to put a nail in the coffin, and I think it brought a lot of confidence for myself, and when I pretty much struck it, I knew like it was semi going over, so that was exciting part, and just to have all the crowd behind us, and it's pretty amazing. So yeah.
I got that on video, bro. I got it off my phone there. I was up on the south end of the east stand, so I was right behind you. I got that.
Yeah.
So like, I remember with the kicking, bro, they had that thing on the Warriors media where you fellas were kicking it off the try line at practice, and you nailed it. And after I saw that, I thought, oh, you can't do that unless you can control the ball. So I always knew you were a pretty good kicker. So, but I think it surprised a few people when you took over the kicking duties when Sean stuffed his leg. Is that something you embrace and you like the pressure of everyone looking at you when you're kicking the ball, or is it something you'd rather not do?
Yeah, like I do most of the kick. Like I do. No, I do practice my kicking when Sean's kicking as well. Like a few other boys as we try to do our goal kicking, and yeah, I guess it didn't plan out well the last game. But yeah, I don't like really hold myself back on that. I look at all the good moments that I had. When I was goal kicking, and yeah, I just just pick up on those moments, and I know that like I can strike the ball, but yeah, it didn't work so well on that last game. So
Right. It's like golf, right? One day you just have that day or you smash your driver all day and you think you got this now.
yeah,
And then you get on the last hole and you slice it out of bounds or whatever. It's a funny feeling. Like, goal. I used to goal kick back in the day, and my only claim to fame is, kicking a couple of games where we, playing in front of a big crowd before a seniors game or something when I was younger, and I loved that. I loved everyone looking at me, and I loved the pressure, and I loved them talking shit. So when I play golf now, I love talking shit to my mates when they start beating me and they start giving it back, and it makes me focus, whereas some people makes them crumble. Can you like hear all those, like the people shouting, bullshit to you when you're lining up a kick, or is your mind so in the zone you can't hear that?
I guess when we played at home, I didn't really have that much pressure. It was pretty quiet and couldn't really hear.
Everyone's giving you
Yeah. And then I think in that last game, I had pretty much like the whole stadium, just trying to, trying to like make me crumble, and which they did, and it was, it was pretty much hard for me because I was like the sideline kicks are pretty much the hard kicks that you do on the field, and I think if I did miss another one, I'll pretty much tell Shawnee to take over and all that kind of jazz. So,
But it's a learning experience, bro. You can't learn to deal with that without dealing with it, right? So I'm sure you'll be stronger for it, and probably, like most people who are professional athletes, they hate to lose anything, so you'll be out to prove a point. And I can envisage that smile on your face when you nail one from the right-hand side to beat the Broncos next year. Hopefully to get into the grand final. So now I'd like to kind of step back, and rather from your personal achievement, but just that journey with the Warriors in 2023. As fans, I had high expectations, and as soon as I heard Webby talk, because of the way he was breaking it down, I could just see that the way things, not the details, but I could envisage how he's implementing that plan in the club. And having seen other managers in other environments, the way people respond to that, I knew you guys were going to have a really good season. I knew you'd make the 8. I was really sure about that. I didn't envisage the top 4, but so I don't really feel like some people had that big turning point. Maybe it was the Sharks, the first win over the Sharks or whatever, that gave them the confidence. I felt like just the whole progression and seeing these little things like how fit you were and how consistent the game plan was through the trials and stuff.
Yeah.
But as a player, being part of that team, when did you start to feel, shit, this is working and we could go deep here?
Yeah, I guess this year's journey was like, we put a lot of effort in the preseason to get our bodies right, which was like our body weight, skin folds, and all that kind of jazz. And I think everyone in the club were just behind us, and they had a lot of trust in us to make sure that we're doing our job right. And that goes like the people in the office and all the staff members. They played a big part. Like our physios, they try to get our bodies right before we run out onto trainings and playing our games. But yeah, it was amazing season for all of us, and I think the turning point. We actually like set a standard from the start that we did want to play in the grand final, but yeah, I think we done a really good job there, throughout the whole season. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's I loved one of the things that Webby said was, we're not here to make the 8. We're here to win as many games as we can and see what that happens. And if you're not here to try and win a title, you're wasting your time. So I love that he didn't set the bar low, like a lot of new coaches for their KPIs and stuff. But
yeah,
the it was really interesting. I think it wasn't just that you guys won that got the whole country behind you. It was the way that the resilience and the frustration as a fan for years, as you guys, the Warriors would be in a game and then they'd drop out in the last 20 minutes. But for me,
yeah,
I felt the last 20 minutes was a real strength for you guys this year, which does come down to fitness and conditioning and stuff. So it was the heart and the passion and the commitment to stay in there, like that game against the Raiders, bro, where they shouldn't have got those tries, but then to get back
yeah,
and nail that golden point win, that's something we really noticed. And I know you're heading into training in a couple of weeks,
yeah,
for a tough 3 odd months, getting your asses kicked. But as fans, we noticed that, and I think that's why the losses were easier to take, because they're always going to come, right? Very rarely will a team go through unbeaten.
yeah,
But because the effort was always there, that's all I wanted this year, is you guys to play with the effort and the heart that you did. But what did you kind of feel the fans, like the momentum of the fans growing with you? Like, because it just got louder and louder and louder. And for me, that Knights game, that was my 50th birthday party, bro. You guys
yeah.
gave me the best 50th birthday present ever. To build to that point where the crowd got louder and the chanting, did you feel that get louder week by week as a player on the field?
Yep. No, it was. Yeah, it was pretty cool to know that the crowd was behind us and cheering us on. No, they played a big part in our games here at Mount Smart, and even some in Australia. I remember when I think we might have ran out on the Titans field. We played Titans, and we could hear our fans when we run out. They'll cheer us on, and then whenever maybe Titans run out, they end up booing them on their home field. So yeah, I think throughout the whole year it was amazing to see, because we didn't really have that over Oz as much as Mount Smart. So that was pretty cool that they come along and help lift us in our games. And yeah,
That game against the Parramatta Eels there, when Richie, not Richie Yeager, Richie from Warriors Nation, he's got that drum, and we could hear the Warriors chant on TV over the Parramatta fans. It's like, whoa, this is really taking off. But so when I went to your debut game, the Sharks one, I literally left there not being able to talk, because I was trying so hard to shout and get the crowd to chant and scream.
yeah,
And it was so dead, man. It was so frustrating. Like, man. And then you just got the old Warriors, dun, 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 Warriors. But this year they started to get the singing stuff going along. And then
yeah,
that Knights game, man, it was just, it seemed like it never stopped. there's a group of guys next to us in the right at the south end of the east stand. They maybe 20 of them, and they must have like got together and come up with a whole bunch of chants and stuff.
Yeah.
And it would and they were getting the team song going on during the game. And to be part of that, I've always dreamed of being part of like that, the English Premier League where they all sing.
Yeah.
And to finally get that going for the first time ever in New Zealand, maybe other than a Phoenix game, as a fan, that was the most fun I've ever had in my life at a footy game or any kind of game. But do you notice the difference when they're singing versus just shouting?
Yep. You can pretty much hear everything when you have like a good crowd like that, and everyone jumps on board. And it was awesome to see or hear them chanting us on, and it was even like all the signs that it was pretty cool to run out and see that, and all the loving support from all the crowd this year. So it was really amazing, and I hope that continues for next year and the years on.
Bro. I mean, people like old hardcore fans. I mean, I'm day one fan, but I love the bandwagoners, bro. Get everyone we can on board because when the whole country or people all over the world are on there, if you guys deliver at that level consistency, they'll stay. But the key for me is I hope you start strong next year, and we can get that chant and the singing going at Mount Smart from game one. Because if that continues to grow, I think it's a massive point of difference because no one else does that in the NRL.
Yeah.
And I think that will mean opposition fans will want to come over to a Warriors game to experience that. The opposition players, like, I can never remember the song. What is it? Da 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 da. Goodbye. When the Knights started to fall out of the game and the crowd was singing that, na 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 na, hey. Goodbye. And it must have really messed with their minds, bro, because you're trying to switch and get back into it, but you've got 30,000 people saying goodbye. Things like that, I think, will be a real advantage for you boys on the field if we can get that fan base to continue it next year.
Yeah. Like I said before, it's I'm excited for next year, and not only for myself and all the team, but the crowd as well. Just all the love and support that they gave us this whole year. That's amazing. Like it's amazing that they get to be a part of that win as well, and win or lose, we will share it with the crowd and the club as well.
Right. So I want to finish up. Thank you so much for so much of your time here. Me talking a lot makes it drag out a bit, but heading into 2024, got RTS coming back. We've got young Ali Leotel coming through. Rocco played well this year. You're playing well. There's a lot of competition for that centre spot. Is there anything in particular you're really going to work on to try and take your game to the next level to make sure you can maintain that spot next year? Is there any particular part?
Yeah, I think pretty much everything really. I want to try keep all my skill and work on a few things in defense, and I think the boys in the center spot will have a good competition, because there's a lot of us coming through now, and it'll be pretty exciting to see where we go from.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I just watched your progression this year, and just you can see all the little improvements there. Like you really got that confidence. Like I try to break down the stats a lot to give people a bit of an insight, and you saw your average running meters went from maybe around the 70s and got up to the hundreds, well over the 100 towards the end of there. So you see the contribution on attack there, watching the tackle efficiency. You know, that and the other thing that's kind of interesting is when people see a miss, and the centres on the wing, they're always like all over you guys in the centres or the wing on Monty. Oh, bro, what did he do that for? But they don't realise it starts in the middle. You know,
Yeah.
I remember that. I watched Nico Hines, slight digression here, quite a bit before you guys played them in the game where you had that win at Shark Park, and seeing how they get this momentum going until they get 4 guys into the tackle.
Yeah.
And they don't quite get the first 2 out quick enough. And Nico's so amazing at spotting that.
Yeah.
And by the time it gets to the second receiver, they've got like a 4-man overlap. And then they blame the guy on the outside for missing the tackle. So it must be such a tough game to try and cover those, you know, things when they happen, and to see them coming and know that it's always the guys on the edges who get shit. But that said, I really hope you guys can take that left edge D to the next level next year and just make it one of the rock solidest left Ds in the comp. And I think that's literally, you know, our edge D. We get that up there. We can beat those Broncos and those Panthers, bro.
Yeah, I think we're looking forward to, you know, building and keep building for next year, and you know, we'll try to be a bit better and you know, work on a few things during the off season and pre-season. So
But it's all we can. I mean, I'm not saying as fans, but just in life, is my philosophy is just better, bro. No, there's no way to pass life. I mean, you'd feel like you'd pass life, I guess, as a NRL player when you win a grand final, but even then you'd want another one, and you're always looking to be better. And I could feel that all season with you guys making those small progressions. So I'm really excited to see the levels that Webby will add to the game plan. And, you know, I intentionally don't ask you guys like what, you know, Webby talked about the 4 things he bought, or him and the coaches went away and they come up with 4 things.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to say what they are. That's your guys' stuff, and like the little things. What did Webby say about this?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'd like to know that offline, but I wouldn't want to share that, because I think that's really important that you guys have that. You know, it's that knowledge within your team that's made you successful, and don't give any other teams a leg up. So, to the fans, if they're wondering why I didn't ask certain questions like that, I've got to look after the boys and not share the secrets. So, thank you very much, my brother. Finally, just a massive congratulations on your engagement to Casey there. Very inspirational way for you to do it over there in beautiful Hawaii. So all the best for a long and happy marriage there, my man, when you finally get a chance to actually get the wedding done. Just don't book it on for grand final weekend.
I'll wait for another month or so.
Oh, bro, I think a couple of guys had that where they're getting into the finals with their brothers or something, had weddings on the final stage. Like, what are you thinking, man? Don't you trust me?
Yeah.
No, honestly, bro, I wish you all the best and a happy life, and I hope we can catch up for a chat again at some stage next year when you're leveling it up even more. So have a great off-season. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all the best.
Cheers, man. Thank you.